Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of my transfer roundup series. Today we've got some big transfer rumours. Nothing confirmed today, just rumours, and we're starting off with a big one. We've got Alex Sandro being linked to Chelsea. Now if this goes through, what does this mean for Marcos Alonso? Does it mean maybe Moses is on his way out? Maybe Alex Sandro is going to play on that right wing back? I don't really know how it's going to work out, but Alex Sandro, I've already mentioned in this transfer roundup series that he is one of the best left backs in the world right now, especially in that left wing back role. Playing in a 3-4-3 as Chelsea do, he would be absolutely amazing. Maybe Alonso isn't quite right, maybe he wants to move away, as I've mentioned before, but who cares? I think Chelsea just want to strengthen in every position possible, and Alex Sandro would certainly do that. But they're not only linked with him, they're also linked with a few other players, which we'll get onto in a moment. But I'm not sure how much this one's going to be. There's rumours of it being 40 million plus. I think Juventus signed him only, is it last season or the season before, for around that 25 million mark, I believe it was. So forgive me if I'm wrong. I might have my numbers wrong. But what I'm trying to say here is that he's moved to Juventus. He's just rapidly improved into, I would say, blossoming into one of the best left backs in the world right now, and he could be now moving to the champions of England, Chelsea. That would be a huge move. One of the other players linked with Chelsea is Bakayoko from Monaco. He's had a very good few seasons at the club. I remember a couple of seasons ago in the Champions League when they knocked Arsenal out, he was one of their best players, and he was even younger than he is now. And it looks like Monaco are just, I don't want to say falling apart, but they're losing a lot of their best players. And if they lose Fabinho and Bakayoko, they've lost two of their central midfielders that, you know, play every game. It'd be pretty drastic to lose both of them. So maybe Fabinho's going to stay and Bakayoko's going to move on. Maybe it's the other way around, vice versa. Who knows? But Chelsea clearly looking to strengthen in midfield. I've got a feeling it's linked to the next thing I'm going to talk about, which involves Matic. So if he leaves, maybe Bakayoko is a replacement. But can you imagine him and Kante? Bakayoko and Kante in midfield? That would be just unreal. So I'm not sure how you know, likely this is. I actually see it happening. I really do. I mean, a double swoop for Alex Sandro and Bakayoko just improves their team massively. It really does. And it means they can move on other players such as Matic, which we'll talk about in a second. So if this goes through, which, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if it did, I really do think Chelsea would be favourites going into the season once again, just because of that Kante, Bakayoko, Alex Sandro down the left. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It really is. Chelsea really do look like they're really going for it this season. When you look into transfers like this, it all starts to make sense. It's like pieces of a puzzle. They just fall into place. And, you know, Matic, who I know for a fact that Mourinho is a massive fan of, really liked, I mean, he brought him back to the Chelsea side, really likes him, and he wants him at Manchester United apparently. And that would be a hell of a signing. I really do think he would fit in really well. I don't want to say he's a replacement for Carrick, but he's that kind of player that would just boss that midfield, you know, just like Carrick does. I don't think they're very similar. They're actually not. I think Matic is just a brick wall. He's not known for his incredible passing ability like Carrick is, but it's almost like, you know, Carrick's on his way out. They're thinking of, you know, future plans here. Maybe Matic comes in and he is their defensive rock, allowing Pogba to move forward, Herrera to move forward. So I think there is some legs in this. I think that if Bakayoko really is going to Chelsea, that allows Matic to move to Manchester United. Apparently Matic is also possibly going to Fenerbahce. I don't know if I believe. I think he's much better than that. I don't think I believe that at all. I think if Matic is going to leave Chelsea, he will easily get into another side. The other team that's looking at him apparently is Juventus, but I think that they're deciding between Matic or Nzonzi, and I think they're going with Nzonzi, which to me is just crazy. Matic, for me, is still one of the best defensive midfielders in the world on his day. He had a bit of a rocky season, not last season, the season before, you know, when Chelsea finished in 10th, I think it was. Just didn't have a good year, but definitely still has the ability there. And moving to Manchester United wouldn't be a bad move if you ask me. And here we go again, another player linked with Arsenal, but this time I think it actually makes sense, guys. Lacazette to Arsenal. Apparently Lyon were pretty much done deal with Atletico Madrid. It looked like Lacazette was going for around that 60 million euro mark, but then obviously Atletico Madrid lost their appeal. They cannot make any signings this summer. So if they were going to do that, and that's broken down, they have a choice. They either keep the player or they try and find another team that would be willing to pay that sort of money. That's where Arsenal come in. Apparently, obviously, Wenger's a big fan of Lacazette. He said that openly. He is an Arsenal-type player. French, electric, plays down the middle. He would be very good for Arsenal. The only issue we have is Arsenal, well, Arsene Wenger in general is just very stubborn, and he won't cough up the same money that Atletico Madrid were offering, which just blows my mind. You've got potentially one of the best strikers from last year in your team for around that 60 million mark, which actually isn't that much these days. It really isn't. Just pay the money and get it done. Lacazette would improve this squad. Imagine Ozil, Sanchez, Lacazette. It's disgustingly good. Make it happen, please. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if Lyon will actually just say, never mind, Arsenal, if you're not going to pay, we'll wait till January and we'll sell him to Atletico then, because their appeal will be fine. They'll be able to make signings in the January transfer window and they can just sign him then. It might even be a cheaper deal, but they'll just do it. But sell him to Arsenal, please. I beg you, Lyon. Please, if you're going to do it, please. And Arsenal need to cough up the money. This is the kind of signing we've needed for a while. It excites me. I would love to see Lacazette at Arsenal. Let me know below, Arsenal fans. Do you think he's the right kind of striker for us? Because I really do believe he would be incredible for us. Moving into our next transfer rumour, guys, we have Jansen of Spurs potentially moving to Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's been a bit of an interesting career choice for Jansen. I think it was a good signing originally. I saw, highlights of Jansen. I thought he looked pretty good when he was playing in the Netherlands, but for whatever reason, maybe it's the system at Spurs. Maybe he just hasn't quite gelled with his teammates. It hasn't worked out for him. It felt very similar to the Soldado experience. Tottenham bringing in a striker that looks great and then suddenly they don't do so well. So this, I think, could probably happen. It would make sense. I don't think Jansen will be at Spurs next season. I think it'd be silly of them to try and keep hold of him because he just doesn't look Premier League quality, at least not right now. It's an interesting one because is it one of those situations where you give your player a chance? Do you say, okay, your first season wasn't great, let's go again and try? Or do you just cut your losses and bring someone else in? I think in Spurs' position, they came second last year. They weren't too far off Chelsea. You need to be bringing in better players. You can't be winning Premier League titles if your main striker gets injured and it's Jansen who steps up. This is a problem that Arsenal, for example, have made mistakes in the past where we've been so close to winning the title, but only if we had a couple of more players. And I think Spurs will be in that similar position if they keep hold of players like Jansen. So for me, it makes sense. Moving to the Bundesliga would be a good step. Maybe he could come back to the Premier League in the future. But I think Spurs will probably bring in another striker and Jansen will be on his way. And it does look like Mönchengladbach are interested. Now, for our final transfer rumour, we have Andre Gray. Had a very decent season at Burnley. I know he had that little bit of a social media issue with his Twitter, but I think he got banned for a couple of games, came back. He's a good player. He doesn't look too bad, to be fair. And I've been waiting for a rumour like this for a while because he's English, and I know a lot of teams would like more English players. And he is, you could say, one of the better underrated ones. And it seems like he could be moving to Everton. Lukaku, we've talked about him many times in this series. Still looks like he could be moving on to, Chelsea, Manchester United, Bayern, Real Madrid. There's quite a few parties interested. But I think it looks like he's going to Chelsea. Everton, they're going to need to bring in quite a few players to replace Lukaku. They won't be able to replace him, one for one, like for like. There just isn't another Lukaku out there. Benteke's close, I guess. Belgium, same kind of striker, physical, but it looks like going for Andre Gray would be a decent move. I think that Andre Gray has similar qualities. He's very quick, he's pretty mobile and quite strong on the ball, but he's nowhere near as good as Lukaku. Let's be real here. So I'm hoping this isn't their actual plan. I think they're still bringing in Sandro as well from Malaga, so it could be that Sandro and Gray combined kind of replace Lukaku. I don't know what Everton are thinking. I think they've had a very good transfer window so far, but they need to really get rid of Lukaku now if they're going to do it and get moving on with his replacements, because he's going to be such a big miss for them next season. So that pretty much rounds up today's news, guys. It's pretty interesting to see these transfer rumours coming up and going away. You see the same transfers coming back over and over again, and they just don't happen. And then all of a sudden a transfer rumour comes up out of nowhere and within a few hours it's a done deal. So keep your eye out for all of these transfers. If you want to read up on them online, you can. This video is just, this series is all about bringing them all into one video, so it's an easy viewing experience for you guys. So thank you for watching. I will continue to upload these videos when I think there's some interesting topics to talk about. Make sure you support the videos, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed as well. Feel free to tweet me any transfers you see that you'd like me to cover. My Twitter link is below, and I will see you tomorrow for some career mode.